Hi, we're here at Fisher Hall looking at some paintings that are very...
Actually, we're here at Micaela's house, and we're looking at these paintings on our computer screens instead.
Okay, yes, that's right. And we're looking at these two pieces of artwork that are very, very interesting.
They're both similar, but they have their unique qualities about them.
I'm Daniel Lopez.
And I'm Micaela Ballew.
So, which one do you want to start off with?
Probably mine.
Oh, why not mine?
Because I like mine better.
Girls always get their way. Okay, so...
Well, anyway, so since we picked mine, we are going to talk about Marcel Duchamp's Nude Descending a Staircase, number 2, a work of art that sparked considerable buzz in the early 1900s.
So, was this painting always liked?
Well, in the beginning it wasn't. On March 18, 1912, Marcel Duchamp received an unexpected visit from his two brothers at his studio in France. What they told him was that the hanging committee, and themselves even, of the Salon in Paris rejected his painting on the grounds that it didn't even make sense.
His own brothers rejected his painting. So, why didn't it make sense?
Well, his brothers told him that the painting could not be displayed because a nude never descends the stairs. A nude reclines. Oh,
yeah, that's right. See, we can see that from older paintings such as Olympia by Edward Manet.
But this is modern art, This isn't something old, It needs to be modern and forward, and I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but there's a tradition. There's a tradition that's been involved. There's a culture. There's a style, and he's totally breaking away from that, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I don't blame Duchamp for never forgiving his brothers and former colleagues for censoring his work.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have forgiven them ever. But more importantly, did the work ever become popular when it was shown?
Daniel, it actually did become really popular in New York when it was shown at the Armory Show in February 1913. This was a big year for modern art.
That's great. Did the work ever receive interest when it was big?
Well, the painting was perceived by the majority of art critics to be utterly unintelligible, and soon it became the butt of jokes and caricatures. The American Art News even offered a $10 reward to the first reader who could find the lady within the jumble of interlocking planes and jagged lines.
That's right. It became the joke of the century.
Yeah, pretty much. And the newspaper cartoonists had a field day with the painting, lampooning it with such titles as The Rude Descending the Staircase, Rush Hour at the Subway, and the memorable Explosion in a Shingle Factory. But guess what?
What?
When Duchamp learned of the scandal, he was delighted.
I would be too.
Well, this even prompted him to move to New York, because apparently for him, any publicity is good publicity.
Exactly. You're famous, you're rich, what does it matter?
Yeah, exactly.
Taking this more seriously, you can see Marcel Duchamp's sense of motion that he was trying to convey in his images. Kind of reminds you of Edward Muybridge's
Horse in Motion, right?
Yeah.
I really like the Horse in Motion because it is just a bunch of pictures put together, and you can really see how the horse looks like it's running, but it's just a lot of pictures.
Exactly, and in Marcel Duchamp's painting, it looks like it's a bunch of people descending the staircase all at once.
Yeah, all at once, and I really like how no one's ever done this before, and I like the Cubist take he took on motion.
Yeah, he was very influenced by Pablo Picasso.
Yeah.
Speaking of groundbreaking concepts and new ideas, our next work of art shares the same similarity, although it's very different. Our next piece of work is the Guggenheim Museum by Lloyd Wright. It was completed on 1959 and was one of the best pieces of architecture ever seen at that time. Even today, it is held as one of the most recognizable and one of the best.
So where is it located?
It's located in New York City, Manhattan, on 5th Avenue between 88th and 89th Street.
Oh, okay. So what's so special about this location?
Well, it's funny because Lloyd Wright didn't want to build this gorgeous museum in New York. He said there were many other places where he wanted to build it. Bilbao, Spain, and Germany, Carpenter's Front Lawn, anywhere but New York. He thought it was too busy and too crowded.
Yeah, and too overpopulated, and it lacked architectural merit.
Exactly, but at the same time, that's one of the reasons why it stood out. And so what he did in order to compensate for that was that he placed it very near to Central Park.
Yeah, it's really close to it. Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, Central Park was key location in the building, in the making of the building. His attempt was to render the inherent plasticity of the building and show off the organic forms and everything.
Yeah, and right smack dab in the middle of New York City.
Exactly, that was the main purpose. Think about it. All the cities, all the skyscrapers, everything was rectilinear forms. And what better way to contrast this and to make it special?
With that white, cylindrical form.
Exactly. It was wider at the top than at the bottom. And it's still one of the most architectural landmarks in history. It hosts Impressionist, Post-Impressionist, Early Modern, and Contemporary art. And the cool thing about this museum is that unlike other museums, check this out, it hosts a unique ramp gallery that extends from the ground level to just under the skylight in the ceiling. So that means you're working your way up, you're walking upwards, because to see art, you have to get high.
That's a funny one.
Well, but think about it. It's so much more practical and easier. Have you ever been in an art museum and after you're done looking at this artwork, you wonder how the heck you're going to get out of there?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wonder that.
But that's what Frank Lloyd wanted to avoid. So he did this, although making it round and cylindrical caused and provoked a lot of controversy.
Yeah, because, I mean, how are you supposed to hang art on round walls?
Exactly. If I was an artist, I'd have second thoughts about hanging my art up there.
Yeah, is there any way we can make a connection between the Guggenheim and Marcel Duchamp's Nude Descending a Staircase?
Well, the interesting thing is that I see it as different roles being played. I see it as the museum holds the power to deny your artwork. And Marcel Duchamp's piece was denied.
Yeah, I see that.
But at the same time, they're both avant-garde and they're both pushing forward.
They're both pushing the limits.
They're both pushing the limits, and they both weren't liked at some point. The Guggenheim wasn't liked because of its round walls, and Duchamp's wasn't liked because people couldn't figure out what it was. But even though they were still both great art pieces, and they still redefined how people think about art and how people think about architecture. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for Lloyd Wright and Marcel Duchamp, where would we be at?
That's true. So thank you for listening. This is us.
And have a good night.
Bye. We're not keeping that in there.